Hey guys, Joel Valley here from Media Glitch, and we are on the second episode of The Road to Recovery. And you're probably wondering, why was there a guy in a dress going down the street? Well, I'll talk about that later. I'm sure those of you guys who know the game I'm talking about might know what I'm referring to, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I just want to first say thank you guys so much. The first Road to Recovery episode was extremely hard to film, to put that out there for you guys. And I got such an amazing response. When I look at the comment section and I go down, it's just filled with positive comments. I don't think I got anything negative. I got a dislike, I think, or something like that, but everything else was really, really positive. and it kind of encouraged me to keep going, you know. Before every episode, I kind of want to get into the comment section. And I'm sorry this episode took so long to get to. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm writing my next movie. I'm actually moving out of this house, so this will be the last Road to Recovery I ever film here. Any episode, actually, because there were a lot of episodes filmed in this house. A lot of good memories.
You can't send them in there. He's their father.
Mom! We didn't like him anyway. Ooh, Daddy, are you playing a cartoon?
Yeah, look.
And with the bravery of a noble knight, like
But he's kind of cute.
Kick Clyde's new kid. What I do? Go on, new kid, kick his King Clyde, and the wishes.
Daddy's game's hard.
Gonna miss this house, but I'm moving on to way bigger and better things, so very excited for that. But I wanted to every episode kind of look at some of the comments that came in. And so I got my computer here, and I'll just... So one of the comments is from D. Dave, who was very inspired. He said, I posted it all over social media. I'm considering making my own response to this video as well. And to that I say, do it. I would love to see and hear your guys' story, your battles, either with addiction or getting out of it, and start to build a community where we could help each other maybe. Another comment that came in says, I don't have a drug addiction, but I have an addiction to trading games at GameStop. I also have an anger problem where I would rage at games and break controllers at a rate of about one a month for over a year. The most recent addiction I got over was buying games for the sake of buying games. So here's the thing about that. I had an addiction to drugs, to alcohol, to all that stuff. But I will always be an addict. We all of us have addictive personalities. People who suffer from addiction, and I've had problems with video games and buying video games, so I understand where he's coming from. The thing is you have to recognize the addiction, like he's doing here, so that you can do something about it. Because in all honesty, it doesn't matter what you're addicted to. If you put that thing in your life, number one, that's priority in your life. Like video games, like you want to have all the video games in the world, but guess what? Those video games, you don't have those video games. Those video games have you, and you are trapped in that, you know. And whether it is, it's that, or it's drugs, or it's smoking, or it's pornography, or it's just the list goes on and on. Whatever that is, you gotta get control over that. So I totally understand where you're coming from. So many good stories and stuff, and I want to hear more what you guys have to say. If you have any questions in the comment section, please let me know, and I'll address those on the next one. So on my road to recovery, I'm actually going to be hitting two games because they kind of go hand in hand. The title of this is probably going to be Mystic Defender. This game is amazing, but I can't talk about this game until I talk about this game, and I can't talk about this game until I talk about this game. So let's get to it. Now, Mystic Defender, I remember seeing this in the store. I just got my Sega Genesis. It's back when Sega Genesis, when you first bought it, they offered you Altered Beast, and then you could pick out another game, whatever you wanted, and they would send it to you. And I got Golden Axe, of course, but I wanted something new. So this would be the first game I ever get for the Sega Genesis outside of what they offered. And I didn't even know at that time that it was the sequel to a game that I had played on the Sega Master System, which is Spellcaster. So, but I want to go even further back because there's a history behind this whole series, and it's pretty awesome. So back in Japan, there's a series called Kujakuō. It's actually a manga series that spawned over several books. I'm not exactly sure. I think I got 12 of them or something like that. It was later turned into an anime as well. And basically in the anime, you play like this Buddhist monk who kind of like a demon hunter type of character. And all that story gets changed in the American release. But there's several animes. In fact, every time these cuts you see here, it's a different movie of all the movies that there are. And some of the art style is really good. Sometimes it's not so good. It just depends, you know. But all of them are definitely worth a watch, and because there's history behind it, you know. Now, if you don't know, Kujakuō was also called the Peacock King, and was also called Spirit Warrior. So there's 3 names for these things, and it can get very, very confusing. But there's a director who made them into movies. There's 2 movies out there. There's the Peacock King, Spirited Warrior. I can't remember, but they're actually both worth a watch. They definitely harping on that Wicked City type of feel to it, and it even has Gordon Liu in it. If you don't know who Gordon Liu is, I don't know. You should probably watch more martial art movies, but he's in it. And the director would later go on to make Riki-Oh, the story of Ricky. If you guys don't know what that movie is, I will just say it is the craziest, bloodiest, most insane movie you've ever seen. It's actually a classic, but it's bananas. It's out there. So now that takes us to the very first Spirit Warrior or Kujakuō video game for the Famicom, which I have here. There's 2 of them in the series, but like I said, I am moving, and for the life of me, I don't know where my other cartridge is. So, and this is a Japanese import here. And this, so basically the Famicom, if you don't know, is the equivalent of the NES for America. And when it came out, it was very, it was a text-based type of game, kind of like Shadowgate, if you ever played Shadowgate on the Nintendo. There wasn't any side-scrolling, nothing like that, no platforming. It was all text-based. And I believe they make a Japanese translation of these games. Don't quote me on that. So, but if you don't read Japanese, you might be out of luck. Graphics are okay. Music's pretty good. But I don't know what more I can say about that. But once we get to the sequel, with Kujakuō 2, man, what an upgrade on the graphics. Upgrade on the music. Upgrade on everything here. They have actual cutscenes with pictures in them, anime style, which is what I love. A whole totally different system and how you select things, how you fight, but still text-based. They never steer away from that. It's always text-based, and definitely, well, if you know Japanese, you might want to check it out. My story with Spellcaster is funny because I got a Sega Master System. I actually traded Nintendo for a Sega Master System, and it came with a bunch of games. A bunch of games that are in that Road to Recovery. I never bought any other games outside of what I had for Road to Recovery. So if you look at my list, you'll see that all the games that I bought with this whole lot when I was a kid. And Spellcaster was in them. And it's funny because Wonder Boy 3, like the Dragon's Trap, is my favorite Sega Master System game. And for some reason, because of the cover, I put that aside, and it was like the last thing I played. Like I was like, well, I have nothing else. I beat everything else. I'm going to play that. And that ended up being my favorite game. But I did play this, and this game, and it was hard. It was hard. But when you're a kid, man, you got nothing else to do. Again, it was text-based. You know, you play Kane, and they actually there's text elements, and then there's side-scrolling elements. And what I love about this game, and something that I always look back at, is the anime and how inspiring it was for me. That kind of art was so awesome for me. And it was what I always wanted to watch, like Fist of the North Star, Vampire Hunter D, stuff like that. I was watching all the time on a regular basis. So now I'm playing a game, much like Phantasy Star, where they had anime kind of cutscenes, and you fought anime bosses. You had all these powers that you could use on them. But the game is insanely hard. But what kept me going was I wanted to see what the next boss would be. I wanted to see what would happen next. And I ended up falling in love with the game. And it controls horrible. I'll just say that right now. The controls are horrible. Music is great. I love the music. I love the story. But the controls are very, very hard to get to or get around. But, and man, you will get lost. Like right around this time when I'm playing the game, it's getting crazy. There are passwords that you can use to get back to where you're at. Like insanely long, crazy, difficult passwords to put in. When I was doing this review, I said, you know, I am going to replay Spellcaster again, just like when I was a kid. Back then, we didn't have no internet. We didn't have no video game magazines. We did, but nothing that was covering Sega. That's for sure. And so I was like, I'm going to do this. This is another reason why this Road to Recovery episode took so long. It took me 3 weeks to beat this game with no help. And even though I had, you know, muscle has memory and I knew where to go, it was insanely hard. You know, when you're a kid, you have 10 hours, 12 hours after you get home from school where you can do nothing and practice and get good and memorize it. But man, as a dad now with a family of 4, it took ages to figure out, try to remember some of the stuff that I was doing. And this game is extremely difficult, extremely brutal. But it has so many cool elements that most people haven't even seen. Like, look at me flying. It's like a shmup, you know? Bosses. Look at that. Inspired by H.R. Geiger's Alien. And we'll see more of that later because that continues to play a part in this series. Insanely awesome bosses. Insanely awesome characters that you can talk to. Weapons. This game has it all. But I'm going to tell you, it's crazy and it's hard. It eventually turns into a shmup, which is wild because it's out of nowhere, really. The last levels and the last boss, I don't know how many forms he has. He eventually has this huge, gigantic form where you go up his whole body, filled with eyeballs and teeth. It gets insane and crazy, but so that's what's weird about this game. It is a text-based adventure, RPG elements, side-scrolling shmup. In the end, it has everything in it. And if you put the time to it, you'll get to see the ending. But I will warn you, it is not easy. Now that takes us to Mystic Defender. Now I already told you guys that this is the first game on the Sega Genesis that I buy. And I remember begging my mom to buy it because the cover looks so cool. I love this cover. And I would sit at home, I would draw this all the time. I thought this game has to be amazing. Look at this cover. And to the point where I once thought maybe, I almost got this tattooed on me. That's how much I love that dragon and everything. I did, but I chickened out.
No thanks, I changed my mind.
Now, when I first started playing Mystic Defender, I'll be honest with you, his control on his character is very weird. The graphics are awesome, they're great, but his movements were a little different from other platformers. His jump kind of feels like it's missing a little bit of air, stuff like that. But once you get into it, you really start to love it. Because my first day with it, I wasn't enjoying Mystic Defender at all. But after that day ended, I had found something that I would eventually love forever. The story goes like this. Alexandra, she's like a deity or the daughter of a deity. She is kidnapped, brought to this castle where one bad guy basically is going to revive his evil master, is what it is. And you play as a guy named Joe. Because I don't know what it is, every ninja that comes over to the States has to be called Joe. I'm not sure why, and you just basically got to go and save Alexandra. So the game is full of cool mini bosses, cool level bosses, different power-ups that you will get. And the music is superb. We'll get to that in a minute. But everything here it's so nostalgic to me. And you may not have that same feeling when you play it. But when I play this game, oh my gosh, I love it. You eventually get your other power-ups like the fire, where you can burn people. You get this like star that shoots all over the place, hits all the enemies. And then you get this like power-up, like the dragon that I want to tattoo on my body. If you pause it just right, you'll be able to see it in all its glory, which is cool because it only lasts a second on screen. Yeah, so you're going to use all those powers to kind of help you get through the game. There's lots of different stages. You got those forest H.R. Geiger stages, lava stages. Almost it feels like you're inside an animal. Some sci-fi, crazy, demonic stages. Now that brings us to another game, which I have to kind of interject here. And kind of brings us to the whole guy in the dress thing that you see in the intro. Now this right here is Mystic Defender for the Japanese Mega Drive. And this is a little bit different, but yet in a lot of ways the same as the one we got in America, except, well, let me just show you. So this is the original, our hero with his armor and stuff. Here it is on the Master System. Now he's a monk, but it looks like a dress. And he fought in this dress, and I don't know if what they took that out in America. I don't know if they thought there would be some confusion. Maybe it was just hard for a hero in a dress to get a job, you know?
All right, well, thanks for coming in. We'll let you know.
Thank you.
All right. Who do we have next?
Joaquin is next, sir.
Joaquin. All right, send him in, please. Thank you. So, Joaquin, why are you interested in being a part of our security team?
I don't know. Either way, they took it out. That's not the only difference that the Japanese version got that we did. They actually had cutscenes. Like, cutscenes. Well, mainly in the intro. But still, that would have been so cool to have on the original Genesis version. Another thing that they had is, if you look, they changed... Those guys are blue in our version. And here, they're flesh tones. You see those babies? They're like come out of the sewer and they drop there. I guess they felt... Look at that. That is kind of gross. They fall out of the sewage and they turn into babies. And then they turn into this like crazy muck thing. But because they were all flesh tones, they changed that. And the American version, now they're all blue, like Smurfs. So I guess it's better to kill a Smurf than it is to kill a human. I don't know. The other thing is the dragon that you had. They changed that because that was a very, I don't know, like Buddhist type of god, you know. And so they changed it with the dragon, was what we got. Of course, Spellcaster as well for the Japan had him in the monk gear or the dress. They also had some cutscenes as well. So we kind of got a man that didn't look like he was playing in a dress, but we did lose some of the cutscenes and some other things. But you know, it is what it is, right? What can you do? Now, another thing that I really love about Mystic Defender is the music. It's unlike any other Genesis cart, Super Nintendo, anything. It has its own unique style. It is awesome. Every track on that game is awesome. So I'm just gonna play a little bit for you, and you can make a decision. This is just stage 1. Another thing I loved about Mystic Defender was the level bosses. Now, man, you had a wide variety. You've seen some already. You had that guy. You had some in the first stage, the spider guy. You got these like crazy looking maggot things that are barfing out stuff. Spiders that form like a knight. It gets crazy here, and they're all awesome. They're all cool bosses that you have to use your powers to figure out which power works best for them. I find that the flame works the most. Now the last guy is kind of interesting because it's a Japanese property. You got these demonic sperm that are coming at you, and you can see the guy. It's like this tower of demon filth, and as well you have the girl you're trying to save up there at the top. Now this is another thing that you should know, that when he goes away, you find your princess totally naked. I remember as a kid, I was like,
has anybody seen this? No? Okay.
the crazy thing is that's how it goes down in Japan as well. But America caught on to it and they quickly changed it. So a lot of the carts have her in a dress. Now, if you have an earlier version, so now there's 2 versions of this thing, and you know what? They both look the same. There's no difference. I have both of them, but the only way to find out is to get all the way to the last guy and see if she's wearing a dress. There's no other way. Now, when you finally beat the game, that's the last guy. You beat the game, of course. The castle goes down in flames. You save your girl, and you get a nice little cutscene story with you and your girl. And what's weird is, in the Japanese version, or in the American version, you have the armor, but they took out her hair ties from the Japanese. I don't know what does hair ties have to do with anything. Why did they edit that out? That I don't know. I never will know, unless I talk to a programmer or something of the game. But that is it, guys. I know that was a lot of stuff, but Mystic Defender is one of my favorite games of all time. Probably on my top 10 list. I love the game. I love the history behind it. I love, I don't know. It's just, there's so much to it than just the Mystic Defender that people don't know. And I wanted to take some time and let you guys know about that. And I know there wasn't a lot of, stories about my addiction or anything in this one, because I knew this was going to be a heavy episode, video game wise. So in the next episode, I'll expand a little more on the addiction. I did want to get to the comments too, because that was something I regularly want to do. And man, I just want to encourage you guys, if you are struggling with an addiction, if you are, in a bad place, get away from those people that are bringing you down. You don't need those people in your life. You may think they're your friends, but real friends will want to help you to succeed in life, man. And I feel like I've led a successful life, but I know if I would have I probably would have been dead, honestly, if I would have kept hanging out with some of the people I did. And you just have to separate yourself sometimes from who you say are your friends. And if they're your true friends, they will stick around and they will understand. And then you can go back later when you're stronger, when you are the influencer, and not the one being influenced, And I had to put some friends to the side for a little bit to get to where I was. So, and I'm thankful I wouldn't change a thing, man. So thank you guys so much for just sitting here listening to me ramble. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions or anything, please in the comment section below. I love reading those things. So encouraging. You guys were amazing. And I didn't know there was going to be an episode 2 when I filmed episode 1, in all honesty. So, and here we are. And just thank you so much for your support. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. What else can I say except for thank you. Thank you so much. And, if you're struggling, let's help each other out in the comment section below. And maybe some people need encouraging, and you can encourage them, I'll try to get to the comments too, So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Team.
Because I like securing things.
Well, great. You're hired.